Hello friends, how is everybody today? This is Barbara Moore for Catch Your Breath 60, and we are going live at Tuesday tea time. I'm just waiting for a couple of people to come on. The weather in Southern Ontario is starting to warm up. We're getting kind of rainy. We have kind of a rainy season anyways for springtime. So between the rain and the overcast and the warm days, we're starting to see, some buds on the trees and some things coming to life. I've seen my first robin of the year, which is always encouraging because that really does mean that summer's around the corner, right? And so let's hope we get off to a warm start and we get some warm days here. Good afternoon, Emily, Sue, May, Nancy. Welcome, everybody. I will only know that you're here if you put a comment in the message. If you leave me a message in the comment box. Hello, Jeanette. How are you today? So, tough breathing day for me today. What causes that? I have absolutely no idea. I started last night getting a little bit, hi Nicola, Linda. Started last night getting a little bit short of breath. And so if you hear me, kind of gasping for air here, that's kind of what it is, right? It's harder when you're trying to talk too. And don't worry about it because I can never stop talking, so. A follower asked me if we could have a tea time dedicated to those of us who are suffering from weight loss. And so I want you to know that I am not a professional. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. And I know about as much as you do about nutrition and everything else that goes with this wonderful disease called COPD. So, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, as it advances, it goes through stages, right? And we all know that we go through stages. There's actually 4 stages to COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. There's 4 main stages. And the doctors rate you on those stages based on your lung function. So, you'll have a spirometry and you'll have a 6-minute walk test. They'll do maybe some blood gases and some other blood work. And based on the results of those tests, they will rate you at a certain stage. Myself, I have never, ever been rated on a stage. They will never tell me what level I'm at. And they just don't believe in it where I go. So it makes no difference to me. Because whatever stage you're at, their thinking about it or their determination on your stage doesn't really make any difference, right? So, hey Norma, hey Tammy, hi Jackie. So, when we talk about nutrition, it's a funny animal, right? I guess thinking about it earlier today, and I was thinking about what I would say today, and I was thinking that most of my life, I think I have fought my weight. I was born a preemie, very, very small. My mother used to say that my head could fit inside of a teacup. I don't know what that meant, but I guess it was very, very small. And my Irish mother and grandmother, my dad, who I lived with, would not have that. And they spent many, many, many years trying to fatten me up. Well, when you have a poor diet to begin with, and we didn't have a lot of things in our house. We were rich people. We didn't have things like fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, right? Well, we had vegetables, lots and lots of vegetables, but not a lot of fruit and a lot of high carb. My parents were high carb eaters, and so we would eat high carbs too, because that's the food that was in the house. And so my weight eventually caught up with me, and most of my adult life I struggled to lose weight. So I started out really skinny, always concentrating on my appearance and my weight. And then I ended up, pretty heavy. And of course, as the years went on and I had my kids and 3 kids, and, you gain a little bit of weight with that, a little bit of that. And I think that was one of the reasons why I started smoking. And I'll bet you, if you really are honest with yourself, that's probably one of the reasons why you started smoking too, because most women started smoking because you knew you were going to lose 10 pounds or so, right? Keep that weight off. But as our COPD progresses and we start to take puffers, at the very beginning of taking the puffers, the Symbicort, and I take Spiriva. And those puffers have steroids in them. And so when I first went on the puffers, I gained like 10 pounds. And it was the first time, and it was in a very short amount of time. And it was the first time that I went to the doctors and was weighed, and he never said anything to me about it. And I thought, whoa, that's strange. Like, I've gained 10 pounds, and he never said anything about it, because my doctor was always on me about my weight. According to him, it was against the law to be overweight. Now, he wasn't a thin person himself, but he was always on me about my weight. But once we've developed COPD, most of us who have emphysema will end up slightly malnourished and underweight, if you will. And I heard a lot of people say it this week. I need to gain weight. I need to gain weight. A couple of people have asked me, I need to lose weight. And so what are the ways that we can look at solving these problems? Late in your COPD journey, you start to develop what is called long lungs. And most of you have heard that long lungs, they get very long and they kind of sit on your diaphragm. And that means that there's not as much room between your diaphragm and your lungs. And it becomes very uncomfortable sometimes to eat. When that happens, we're not just losing fat, but we're also losing muscle mass, including the muscles that help us breathe. And so this can become a very serious situation. When I was in the rehab the first time around, I was in the room with a lady who was extremely, extremely thin. This is called CACHEXIA, and it's extreme weight loss. I can't pronounce it. Cachexia. It is extreme weight loss. So she would look at me, and I was like, I don't know, maybe 200 pounds at the time. And she'd say, I used to be your size, but now I'm like 98 pounds. And I think, oh my God, could that really happen? I mean, I never thought that would ever, ever, ever happen to me. And she had to take, milkshakes and supplements and stuff, right, just to keep her weight up. But it is a problem, because not only are we losing weight, but we're also losing muscle. And those muscles are what help us breathe. You can use or burn up to 10 times more calories just to breathe when you have long lungs and when you are in advanced stages of COPD. Shortness of breath and chronic cough often lead to a decreased appetite, right? And I know that feeling of like, I don't know if you can even look at food. And, my husband's still going strong, and he likes his robust meals, and You know, he puts stuff on my plate and I look at it and I think, I'm never going to get that down. Like I can't even think about it, right? And I know that it's much, much harder for those of you who live by yourself, who don't have somebody to cook your meals. It's one thing to lose your appetite and not to eat. But when you have to cook the meals, you expand all that energy on cooking meals, and you very often do not feel like you have any more energy to eat it. So, I can see this, you know, I can see this happening like sometimes to me, and I feel like, you know, my husband cooks all the time. He cooks all the meals every day. He cooks from breakfast. Well, we don't really have lunch because we have a late breakfast, but he cooks all the night meals, and those are the, you know, the bigger meals. And I think, oh, you know, I should go and help him, you know, cook the meals and stuff like that. But just getting out to the kitchen and getting short of breath, and I think, oh, screw this. I'm not making this, you know. So sometimes, you know, I feel so bad for people that are on their own, and trying to get, you know, proper meals on the plate, and then working at getting them down. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you is that if you have oxygen, you should be wearing oxygen when you're cooking. You should be sitting down in the kitchen when you're preparing meals. You should be sitting on a chair. I just bought 2 bar stools for the kitchen that work pretty good, and they're, you know, counter height. They keep me at a counter height, so I can at least go out and help my husband with some of the chopping and stuff like that, right? But I couldn't do anything in the kitchen unless I had a chair to sit on. I can't stand up to do anything. And sometimes what's a really good idea is making a crock pot full of stuff. You know, I used to do this when I was working. I used to make a huge roast beef on Sunday, and it would be so big that there'd be lots left for Monday and Tuesday too. And we just, you know, we'd have sandwiches one night and we'd have it in gravy one night and whatever, right? So when I cook things like chicken breasts, I want to cook a whole bunch of chicken breasts because I don't want to have to go through this every day, right? And then I'll do something with the chicken breasts as they're cooked, and you know, change it up a little bit. So we talked about our lungs and how our lungs get, for those of us who have emphysema, like I do, I have emphysema. And for those of us that have emphysema, our lungs get big, they get overexpanded, they also get long. So these lungs are taking up more room in our chest cavity than we actually have room for. So as the lung expands with emphysema, there's little space between the lung and the diaphragm, and eating is no longer pleasant. Even though I crave certain things, I can still only eat a little bit of it. Eating often causes bloating or indigestion, and that's because of, you know, the size of your lungs compared to your diaphragm and how much room there is not there. So when cooking meals take up all of your energy, I want you to consider something here, is that cooking in bulk. If you have to put something in the oven, put a whole bunch of stuff in the oven. I like to make trays of vegetables and just put them away in Tupperware at the end of the night so that I have lots left over. Finding ways to get pre-cut meals, microwavable foods, and cut back on sodium. You know, sodium's one of the things that can really make you feel short of breath and bloated. You know, it makes you feel bloated, and sodium's not good for anybody. So some of the things that you should be eating, I know we want to build muscles, right? But in order to build muscles, we have to build fat too. We have to have fat intake. So some of the things that will help you to keep some of your weight on: ice cream, puddings, cheese, granola bars, custard, eggs, avocados. They're very high in good fats. Crackers with peanut butter, bagels with peanut butter, cereal with half and half instead of, most of us are drinking skim milk and so forth, and we need to have a little bit more fat in our diet. Popcorn with butter or Parmesan cheese. Now, I hadn't thought about that before. What a great idea. Do some popcorn and put some Parmesan cheese on it. Whole milk, milkshakes, nutritional supplements. We need protein to build muscles. So whatever calories that you are putting into your body, and you are putting some calories in even though you're losing weight. But when we put these calories in our body, stop and think about what is full of protein, because we need protein to build muscles. So milk products and meats that are high in protein, cheeses, peanut butter, nuts, and eggs. Now, the other thing is that in order to build the protein and add some muscle, we have to start exercising. And I hear all kinds of people say, oh, I can't exercise. I don't have any, I weigh 98 pounds. I can't possibly exercise. Well, yeah, you can. And you should be exercising, because one of the things that is lacking when you're losing muscle mass is that you're not exercising to build it up. And I'm not telling you to exercise to burn up calories. I'm telling you to exercise to gain muscle mass. So do what I do. Sit during all of your exercises. I can get my rubber bands and I can pull them apart and push them, back and forth and so forth. I'm not using a lot of energy to do that. But what it is doing is it's building muscle mass, right? And it's keeping the muscles where you need them. Most of the upper body is where you need them. And I know we tend to focus our exercise on cardio, right? Cardio will help you lose weight if you continue with your cardio. But if you don't continue with your cardio, you can still build muscles. And we need to build these muscles because they need to carry our compromised lungs. So continue to sit in a chair, get a can of soup and lift them. Lift your can of soup. Or if you don't have weights, lift them. Move your legs, move them up and down, move them out and forward, move them back and forth. We can do all of these things while we're sitting down, and we don't have to use energy, but we must continue to build those muscles. So I'm hoping that you will leave a message, not for me, but for everybody else who is on this post today, and tell them what you have done to gain weight and what you have done to lose weight, because half of us are at the beginning stage of our COPD journey where we have gained weight, and most of that's from the meds. The other half of us are at the other end where our lungs are really compromised and we're starting to lose weight. It doesn't have to be an absolutely horrible thing, right? Losing a little bit of weight is a good thing. It's just how much do you want to lose, right? So keep up your exercise, do some bodybuilding, move those muscles, get those arms moving, make sure that your upper body is full of muscles, and don't be exercising to use up energy, but find ways to fill your diet with fat and protein, and you will help maintain that muscle mass. We will have journaling tomorrow at noon. Anybody who's interested in joining with me, we will be talking about this actual thing, which will be meal menus, losing weight, gaining weight, that sort of thing, tracking our weight and how we do that. Derek Cummings will be on tomorrow from International Breathe Easy, and he will be on at 3 o'clock tomorrow because our clock's changed and his haven't yet. So that's the new time for it. And of course, we will have Thursday Zoom. So if anybody's interested in joining us, drop me a line and I'll send you a link. Thank you very much. This is Barbara Moore for Catch Your Breath 60. Thank you for joining me today.